What's going on, guys? So in this video we are going to be building a fully functional Uber app. Okay, and this is what the app is going to look like. This is the final version here. And so if I go ahead and let's say I want to type, let's say I want to go from Manhattan to Brooklyn. Okay, so if I do Manhattan to Brooklyn, I see it on the map here. I see the full route on the map, and I have an estimated distance, 37 kilometers, and the estimated cost, which is, according to Uber, the right cost here. And I'm going to show you exactly where I got that number. The estimated cost is $56. Let's say I want to go from Miami, Florida, and as you can see, it has a nice drop down to Brooklyn, New York. We have the map here from Miami Beach or Miami to Brooklyn here. This is our map, and we can, have all the functionality of Google Maps. We can zoom in, we can zoom out, and as you can see, the estimated distance is 2,000 kilometers, and estimated cost is a little bit over $3,000. And so this is a fully functional client. It pretty much, you can put any city that you want. You can put, let's say, San Francisco. You can put San Francisco, California to Brooklyn, New York, and then we have it on the map. Estimated distance is 4,700 kilometers, and the estimated cost is 7,000 miles. So you can put any city, you can put any zip code, you can even put a specific address with a street address. So let's say you want to put, there's a San Francisco address here. This is the address, and then we have the estimated cost and the estimated distance. And so in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to build an exact app like this one using Bubble.io. And this is going to be a little bit of more of an advanced video because we're going to be utilizing some of the advanced functionality in Bubble. So you want to pay close attention to everything that I will be doing, because you will be able to use this knowledge in order to build pretty much any kind of app that you want. And we're going to be doing this from scratch. And so the first thing we need to do is we need to create a brand new app. And this is what I'm doing right now. And we're going to call it Uber 2000. Okay, Uber 2000. We're going to do this. Is this a customer facing or an internal? We're going to, we're going to put external. What is the goal? Build a tool for myself. What kind of app? This is going to be a SaaS. Create a new app. So we are building a brand new app. And so Bubble has created a brand new app for us. And we have this boilerplate. We have a lot of this template stuff. We are going to remove all of this because we don't need any of this except the header. So I'm going to press delete. We're going to press delete on this. We're going to press delete on this group. And now we have an app without anything. I'm also going to delete. We're going to edit the header. And to do that, we're going to go into the page, we're going to go into the header, and we're going to delete this Bubble forum, fag, and sign up or login. I'm just going to keep that. And we're going to modify the image here. So we're going to double click, and we're going to search for free images, and we're going to type taxi and see if we can find some nice images having to do with, taxis, car sharing. And so we have a couple of taxis here. How about this one? What I want is, obviously, when you're building this app, you're going to have a logo here, but I'm just going to put a random image here. We're going to import this image. This is an entirely free image. And then pressing the Shift button, we will be able to expand it. So you can have something like this. And we also have the sign up button. So we're going to go back to our page, and we are going to start building the actual page here. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to drag a group. Okay, you want to drag a group. And what we're going to have here is we're going to have this group here that's going to be a kind of a placeholder, a container for all the other elements here. It's going to make it really easy to control the elements. We're going to center it horizontally. And so the idea is this is going to be Google Maps here, fully interactive, fully responsive to what we're going to be doing. And then we're going to have the from field, the to field, and this is going to be a field where it's going to be with autocomplete, so they will be able to start typing, and then we're going to autocomplete with some ideas and choices so they can choose from what exactly they're trying to do. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then later on, we're going to have two more fields that's going to have estimated distance and estimated cost. And also, we're going to have a button where they can go ahead and actually book this ride, okay? So when you're building a map, you have a map element here. You have a map element. And so we can do that. But the problem with this map element is that it's not fully interactive. It's not fully customizable. And what I mean by that is that, yes, you can have multiple points, right? I can zoom out. I can have multiple points. So let's say I want to have an initial zoom of 5. So I can have multiple points, but it's not going to show directions. It's not going to show the route. And I do want to show the route. And so for that, we actually need to be using a different control. So we're going to delete this. And what you want to do is you want to drag and drop this HTML control. Okay, this HTML control allows you to put any kind of HTML elements on it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be inserting a frame. And this frame is going to be Google Maps embed. Okay, so this is going to be something different. And so I'm going to drag this HTML control. I'm going to center it horizontally. And maybe I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Actually, I want to make it 360 by 480. Okay, so the height is going to be 360 and the width is going to be 480. So there we have a nice control. I'm going to center it horizontally. And I'm going to get back to it in a second. But right now I want to insert a couple of other controls. And this is going to be the from destination and the to destination. So we're going to enter this text. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to enter it here. I'm going to select and copy it. I'm going to place it here. And we are going to call it this from. Okay, or you can call it origin destination. I'm just going to call it from and to. Doesn't really matter what you call it. What's important is the functionality. And then we're going to drag and drop this search box. And this is great because this is actually a built-in bubble control, which really saves our time and saves our energy. And so we're going to position them. And this control here, we're going to go in here. We're going to choose geographic places. And we're going to change the name. We're going to make it from input from. Okay, and this one, same thing. We're going to make it geographic places. And this is going to be input to. Okay, and so as you can see, once we load this app, if I start typing in the from field, if I start typing an address or a zip code or anything, it basically starts to look up these fields, and we have a fully functioning autocomplete. So I can type San Francisco, and it has all these San Francisco, Mexico, San Francisco de Rincon, Dominican Republic, all of these. And same thing for the to fields. I can put Miami, and we're going to have various fields. And this is great because we have a fully functional autocomplete right out of the box using one of the bubble components. And this is fantastic for us. Now, we're not done yet. We're not nearly done yet. We still need to have the map fields, and we still need to have a couple of other fields that estimate the distance and estimate the amount of money that the person will need to pay in order to take this ride. And so the next thing I want to talk about is the actual maps. And so remember, we can't really use this map field because it's not as functional as we want. We want it to be very functional. We wanted to display the actual distance. We wanted to display something like this. And for that, we actually need to use an embeddable Google Maps, okay? And the way you do this is you simply go to Google and you type Google Maps Embed. If you do this, Google Maps Embed, you're going to find the Maps Embed API overview. And in order for you to do that, you have to use something called an iframe. So here's an example of an iframe right on Google API Docs. And if you use this iframe, you can read more about it here. You're going to have a map that looks something like this. As you can see, it's centered on Space Needle, Seattle, Washington, which is where it's centered right now. This is a fully functional interactive map here. And I already have an iframe prepared for us that we can use. And here's an example of this iframe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this component. I'm going to go into this Edit Me field, and I'm going to paste my iframe. And this is an iframe that gives directions from Oslo, Norway to another city in Norway as an example, okay? And we're using my API key that you have to create another API key, or you can use your existing API key, because if you go to this embed overview, you need an API key here, okay? You have to insert your API key, and you can learn all about it, how to do it. But the beautiful thing about it is that once you do it, you're gonna have a really, really cool map, a very, very functional map that you can control from inside of Bubble. So I'm gonna fix it up a little bit. I'm gonna fix up these fields, and I'm gonna show you how this map looks like. So if you preview our newly created app, we have these fully functional autocomplete fields, and we have a map. Right now, the map is not corresponding to the actual stuff on the map. The fields are not, because regardless of what we type here, it's not going to reflect on this map. And we're going to fix that right now. And so to do that, you can simply go to this embedded map. You can double click on it. And as you can see, we're using my API key, but we have this origin Oslo, Norway, and destination Telemark, Norway. And so what we need to do is we need to get the fields from these autocomplete fields. And this is actually very, very easy to do. You're just going to go and replace Oslo, Norway with a dynamic data, right? This dynamic data is going to be input from value. That's all you have to do. And you're going to do the same thing for Telemark, Norway. In this example, you're going to insert dynamic data, input to value. And now, regardless of what they type, it's going to select exactly what they want. So if we actually preview our newly created app here and we start typing, we're actually going to do directions. So if I put a Brooklyn, New York here, and I put a destination, let's say I put San Francisco here, we're going to have a fully functional map from Brooklyn, New York to San Francisco. Or let's say I put Miami. From Brooklyn to Miami, we're going to have a fully functional map from Brooklyn to Miami. The only thing is that if you do something like this, it's not going to display because we don't have an origin parameter. And that is actually not an issue because you can define defaults, right? So you can define defaults. And so for this from field, we can put a default value. And so let's say the default value is Brooklyn, New York. Let's say I put Brooklyn, and we have Brooklyn, New York. And let's say the default value is, I don't know, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going to put Boston, Massachusetts. And now we have default values. And so if you refresh this newly created app, you're going to see now we have all the values that we need to use. Now we have the default values. Obviously, we can change it. We can change around. We can also get values from the user. All of that I'm going to be covering a little bit later in the video. But the point is it's very, very flexible. There's a lot of things that you can do. And so now we're about halfway done because we can actually input data. So I can put, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona to Boston, Massachusetts, and we have the map fully reflecting the journey. You can't really do that with the built-in map because it's not going to show you directions. It's not going to show you estimated time, any of that. And so this is a really, really nice solution thanks to this embedded map from Google API. And so the next thing I want to do is I want to show them the estimated distance and the estimated cost as well. And so as you can see, this map actually has an estimated distance, right? Well, not really an estimated, it's probably an exact distance. So from Phoenix, Arizona to Boston, Massachusetts, it's around 2,749 miles, and it's going to take you 52 hours. They show another route, but that's not really important. What's important is that they show this on the map, and you can kind of understand the user, the person that's ordering this ride, they can understand exactly what's going on. They can see on the map their directions. I can put a zip code here. Let's say I put 90210. This is Beverly Hills, that famous Beverly Hills zip code. And let's say I put another zip code, 92122. I think that's San Diego. It is San Diego. And now we have Beverly Hills 90210, San Diego. And this is awesome because I can also put an exact address. I can do anything that I want. It's super, super flexible. Now, the only problem is that we cannot extract this information. You see, it says 160 miles, 5 hours, 4 minutes. In order to do that, we actually have to use another API from Google to do that. This is Embedded Maps. We are using this. We can't really get the data. This is accomplished by using another API. And this API is called Google Distance Matrix API. Okay, and so if you click on this, you're going to have an overview. Google Maps platform gives you a lot of these APIs that you can use in your own maps. And so take a look at this. You can read about it. The distance is a service that provides travel distance and time for a matrix of origins and destinations. Okay, and this is exactly what we want. And so they're giving you this API, and this is an API that you should be using in your maps. And so if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see a JSON response, a JSON API. And so responses to distance matrix API queries are returned in the format indicated by the output flag within the URL request path. And so what that means is that you have full functionality. So if you send a request that looks something like this, there's a JSON request, there's an XML request, you're going to get a response that looks like something like this. We're interested in JSON. We are not really interested in XML. And that is why we're looking into this. And so if you send a response like this, you're going to get, if you send a request like this, you're going to get a response like this. And this is exactly what we want. This is actually in French because we can specify how we're sending this request. So as you can see, this is actually in French. And so what you want to do is you want to copy this and you want to try to formulate your own request before you actually go out and start doing this within Bubble. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to head over to my tool that I love using for all kinds of requests. And this tool is called Postman, okay, postman.co. And what I did is I pasted this request here with my API key. And now we see all this data here. We see all this information. So for instance, if I put my origin as San Francisco or San Diego, I put San Diego and the destination is San Francisco. We're doing mode is driving, always going to be driving. And then we have the language. Then we have the language English US, and I have my API key, and I click send. We are going to get a nice response. We're going to get the destination address San Francisco, origin San Diego. And then we have the distance. The distance is 800 kilometers. Duration is 7 hours and 37 minutes. As someone who has actually driven that route many, many times in the past, I can tell you that this is pretty accurate. And so we have the kilometers and we have the duration. This is perfect for us. And so what we need to do is we need to copy this whole link here, and we need to go back into Bubble, and we need to configure this API call within Bubble. So here we are in our app. We're going to go back to the designer. We're going to go into plugins, and we need to install this API plugin. Very, very important. This is the first plugin I always install because I always do API calls. So if you type API, you're going to have this API connector. You're going to hit install. You're going to hit done, and now you have this API connector. And so we can add another API. I'm going to call this distance matrix, okay, because we can make all kinds of calls here in the, under this umbrella, API umbrella. And then we're going to set up this one API call, and this is going to be get distance, okay? This is going to be a get request. And all I did was I basically pasted that whole sample request that we sent. We're doing data, we're doing JSON. The only thing we need to do is we need to configure our parameters, and these parameters are going to be the origin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete San Diego, and I'm going to put a square bracket, opening square bracket, and I'm going to put origin, close square bracket. Once I do that, I have this key value pair, which is perfect for us. And I'm going to do the same thing for San Francisco. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to put destination. And if I do that, I'm going to have origin and destination. We're going to remove private, and we're going to put, you can put some values if you want. And actually, it's a good idea to put values because we need to initialize the call. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put origin as San Diego and destination as San Francisco. And so now we need to initialize our call just to see if everything is good. Looks like we're getting data back. As you can see, distance text is 800 kilometers. Distance value is here. Duration is 7 hours. So it understood our request and it gave us the correct response. I'm going to hit save. And now we can start using this API in our distance as well as in our charge calculation and our cost calculation. Okay, so we are done here. We're going to go back to the design. And now we're going to continue our design here. And what we're going to do is we're going to fix it up a little bit here just to make it a little bit nicer. And I'm going to copy this. And we are going to create two more fields. This field is going to be distance. And then we're going to have another field or label. Label is a better name. And this is going to be cost. Okay, so for the distance, we are going to be inserting a new label just below it because I want to have control. I want to make this bold, for instance. I'm going to edit style. And I'm going to make it bold. We are going to do that. Actually, I'm going to remove style. I'm going to remove style. I'm going to create my own style. And it's going to be easier for me. And this is not bold. This is bold. And so we have the distance. Now for the distance, we actually need to create, we need to call this API. And we need to pass these values, the from and to here. And we're going to get the distance back. So in order to do that, we're going to insert dynamic data. We're going to get data from an external API. We're going to choose distance matrix here. And now we have our default fields. We're going to insert dynamic data. We're going to do from input from value. And this is going to be input to value. Okay, now we can close. And we need to still make sure we choose the right field. Because remember, guys, when you're doing this call, you're getting a lot of data back. Remember, this is this distance matrix API. What we are looking for is we need to go into rows, we need to go into elements, we need to go into distance, and we need to pick this value here. Actually, we can pick this text. It's even better. Actually, well, it depends. If you're going to be showing it in miles, then you want to do value and you want to do calculations. But let's say we just want to do kilometers. Just to keep it simple, we're going to pick text here. So I'm going to go back into Bubble, and I am going to go into rows. I'm going to go into first item because we only have one distance calculation. Items element, first item. And then we have distance, text or value. Let me double check what we need. We need text. Okay, so we're going to go and pick text. Distance, text. We're going to do this. And now we should actually get the right calculations. And for the cost, well, the cost actually depends on what the Uber charges. I actually found this page here. And we have sample price from Union Square to SFO. And this is a price estimate across United States. Okay, and so we have the booking fee. And let's say we're doing for Uber X. Okay, Uber X, you can do all kinds of calculations. You can do Uber X, Uber XL, you can do as many as you want. But just to keep it simple, I'm just gonna do it just for Uber X. So we have the booking fee, which is $2.20. And then we have additional cost per mile, which is $1.60. And so let's say this is kilometers, just to simplify things. We're going to multiply the kilometers that we gotten by 1.6, and then we're going to add 220 in our calculations to get the full estimated cost. So we're going to go back to our app. We're going to copy this here. We're going to copy, paste, and we're going to paste this here. We're going to double click. And now we're going to do our calculations. So we're going to delete all of this. Actually, we need a distance, get distance rows, first item elements. We're going to get first item. And now we're going to use the value. Okay, very important. We need to use the value. And the value we're getting, the value is this one. And this is actually in meters, right? We have 807,000 meters. 582 or 808 kilometers. And so what we need to do is we need to take this value, divide it by 1,000, and then you can also divide it by 1.6 in order to get the miles, which is what we're going to do actually, because the estimate is in miles, right? Remember, this is in miles per mile. And so what we need to do is we need to take this value here, divide it by 1,000 to get kilometers, then divide it by 1.6 to get the miles, and multiply by the charge per mile. And this is what we're going to do right now. So we're going to go back here. We're going to get the value. What we're going to do, we're going to go in here and we are going to divide it by 1,000. We're going to do this division here. We're going to put 1,000. Now we have the kilometers. Okay, we're going to press enter. We're going to choose another division here. And we are going to divide it by 1.6. And now we have the miles. And now we can multiply this resulting number by 1.6 to get Uber X. We're going to multiply it by 1.6. And so we're going to go in here, choose multiply, and then put 1.6. And now we have the dollars. We're also going to format this. Format it as currency. Decimal place is 2. 1,000 separator is comma. Currency is dollars. We're going to press close. And now we have the value here. This is our cost, estimated cost. We can also add the booking fee, right? So if we go in here, we have the booking fee. So let's go and add $2 actually. Let's go in here. Oh, actually, and so let's do that. Let's go in here. And so we have our dollar amount. So we divide it by 1.6. We multiply, actually 1.6. Is it really 1.6? Yeah, 1.6. So we're dividing it by 1.6. We'll multiply just to keep things simple. And then what we want to do is we want to add 2.20 to get these. So we're gonna go in here, we're gonna add a plus here, and then we're gonna add 220 booking fee, and then we're gonna format everything as dollars, right? Currency, decimal place is 2,000 separator is comma, currency is US dollars, and now we have the full amount. And this should be, this should show the actual cost if we do everything correctly. Let's double check our distance. We have distance text here. And so let's preview and see what the app is showing. And so now we have the fully app working here. We have a sample cost from Brooklyn, New York to Boston, Massachusetts. Distance is 350 kilometers. And so if I put 350 divided by 1.6, I have 218 miles. I'm going to multiply by 1.6, and I'm back at $350. And then I'm going to add 220. And what do I have? 352. Altogether, there was probably not, exactly 350 kilometers, because remember, this is a rounded off, and we have exactly the same amount. And so let's try another city. Let's try Miami Beach. Let's say I want to go from Brooklyn, and I want to escape the cold winter to Miami Beach. And what do we have? The distance, 2,000 kilometers, a little bit more than 2,000, and the cost is 2,068, which should be very, very similar if our calculations are correct. Let's say I want to go from Omaha, Nebraska to Miami Beach, Florida. And now we have distance and we have the cost, which is almost the same. It looks like it's about $1 per kilometer here, and if our calculations are correct. And so as you can see, we have a really nice embedded map. We have a fully interactive map. You have more options. You can do some interesting things. You can zoom in, zoom out. I really like this map a lot better than the built-in bubble component. You can also make it bigger, make it smaller, do whatever you want with it, but I really like it. I could put a San Francisco zip code here, actually 92122, San Diego zip code to Miami Beach. We have new calculations. I can put a San Francisco address here. I can put something like this, and then we have to Miami Beach, and we have everything recalculating in real time. The only thing that's left for this app is to add a button. So if we scroll down, we're going to add a simple button. So we're going to have a button here. I'm going to center it horizontally. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Maybe that's too big. Something like this. We're going to center it horizontally, and I'm going to call this book ride. Okay? And so we have book ride. I am going to go back to the button. I'm going to edit a couple of things. I'm going to remove style. I'm going to make this a little bit maybe bigger. Yeah, that looks about right. Maybe change the colors a little bit. Maybe make it, I don't know, depending on the color scheme, maybe make it black if I'm going for the Uber type color scheme. And then if we preview or refresh the app, we should have the button there. And the button, the idea is we are going to request the ride. We're ready. Let's say I want to do from Brooklyn, New York to Manhattan. To Manhattan, New York, what do we have? We have some traffic. We have 46 minutes. Distance is 19 kilometers. Cost is $21. And we can actually book the ride. And so that is the app I wanted to show you. Now, obviously, in one of the future videos, we're also going to add some more functionality. We're going to actually show how the booking process works. There's a lot of things that you can do. And really, you yourself can, customize this app. There's a lot of interesting things that you can do. But what's more important is that the information that I've given you in this video, you can leverage that in order to build some of the other apps. Because remember, a lot of people think about Bubble is that you're only limited to these components. No, you can go ahead and you can insert this HTML component like I have here, and then you can you can input an iframe, and you can pretty much do anything that you want. You're not limited by the components. And that is why I really like this embedded Google Maps component as opposed to the built-in Maps component. But anyway, there's so many things that you can do. And even with the app that we're building here, we're going to be able to build a client. We're going to be able to build a server and kind of add all kinds of functionality, maybe a driver app, a rider app, and all of these things. And so if you want me to build that kind of app in one of the future videos, definitely like this video. I want to see at least 100, 200 likes on this video. And that way I will know that you're interested in me going out and building another app. And so the idea that I have is I want to build another app that's going to have a rider interface. And so once the client clicks on this button, the rider is going to see a request, and they can accept requests. And if they accept the request, this rider is going to get notified that a car is ready to pick them up in X minutes. And we're actually going to code all of that in some of the next videos if I see enough interest in this video. And so if you like this video, if you enjoy this video, definitely smash the like button. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any questions, any concerns, any ideas for future apps, anything that you want me to clarify in some of the future videos. I would be happy to help you out. And so definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And this channel is all about no code, where you can build any kind of app that you want without writing a single line of code. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about it below, and I will see you in a future video.